Coming up on this Linux GameCast Weekly, Valve makes with a streaming NVIDIA FRAPS, Megabyte Punch, and the Dawn gets nuclear. Then we throw the chairs at Forced. All this, plus your hate mail. Let's go. And welcome back to another Linux GameCast Weekly, the show that covers the latest Linux gaming news, reviews, how-tos, and most importantly, whatever the hell else we come up with. And this week, though a bit late, is no exception. We're talking about Megabyte Punches, Nucleons, NVIDIA FRAPS, and something gets forced. It does involve chairs, but joining me late every week, Mr. Svang. How's it going, buddy?
It's going well. My fucking barometer is in Windsor, Ontario right now. It's not getting any closer.
And a man who needs no barometering, Pedro Motiz, who's recovering from cancer AIDS.
AIDS cancer.
Yeah, AIDS
sort
cancer.
of.
Yeah.
It's really bad.
And you know what? AIDS cancer is usually pretty bad.
Yeah, no one goes pat you on the back there. It's like, that's some AIDS cancer.
It's just like, I feel bad. No, let's not.
Then burns their hand. So, before we get started, we do like to catch up with what's been going on during the week. And like I said, we're getting a bit of a late start, so we'll make this quick, short. To the point, I upgraded things. Things went horrible. And when I talk about upgrading, we're talking about a favorite phone company. As you'll see on the Clamper board if you do watch this live, AT&T.
See, I thought that said fuck attack at first.
Same difference, because that's what they gave me. They rubbed their nipples raw, and after they decided they've extracted the last bit of rage and pain out of me to where I was just a humble mass, they said, all right, we'll finally send you a new gateway device. Brilliant. Also,
what was that between the hours of go to hell and fuck you?
Basically, picked up one of these. Twin Froza.
Twin Froza.
70. Twin Froza OC edition. Make sure I know. OC edition. Kind of had some fun. We'll get into that in the PSAs, but that's the end of my long, miserable self. You got some misery for us, though, don't you?
Oh, yeah. So I picked up a shiny new SSD from my Steam box. I figured, let's give it half a gig or half a terabyte of, solid state because fuck spinning disk. And I figured, you know what? Let's throw Fedora 20 beta on it because why the fuck not? And so I did. And I ran into this. It actually works fairly well, except for this really fucking annoying bug with BTRFS that doesn't let you mount a user subvolume and blah, blah, blah. Half the people here don't even know how to run BTRFS, so I'm just gonna talk like bleh. Anyways, I also got hit with one of these freaking Steam bugs where I had to delete and refresh my fucking local Steam info. That was annoying.
That's miserable.
Yeah, you can work around that one by enabling the Steam runtime, though.
Yeah, I saw your notes, and it's a little too fucking late for that, Mr. Captain Hindsight. So what about you, Captain AIDS Cancer? What do you have to say about it yourself?
Well, I'm just waiting for the final call from Synopsys to, go to the final interview, see if I get the friggin' job or not. I really hope so.
I'm sorry, we can't.
As you can probably tell, AIDS Cancer, cold, whatever you want to call it, I'm brewing one.
Honori's waiting for that truckload to show up, isn't she?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. I'm also going to be visiting Nori next weekend, so good times.
He's going to come back and like the top layer of his epidermis is just gone. That may seem like it lacks complete context, but Pedro knows what I'm talking about.
Yep.
So let's whore ourselves out just a bit, J-Man.
Yeah, whore ourselves at LinuxGameCast.com/podcast, where all that slash fiction of us resides. Please don't create slash fiction of us. We write that ourselves. It's called the After Show. Anyways, we got RSS feeds, SD video, HD video, SD audio. Got a handy dandy e-stocking guide, Amazon affiliate links. Click on that, buy some shit, have UPS guy come and fuck your wife. It's all good. We got donato buttons. give us a one-time donation, $3.50 a month, or maybe $10 a month, and get varying prizes. It's all explained on there. And if you can't read, then what the hell are you doing running Linux? Anyways, there's also our chat realm statically linked, where we are occasionally the other 6 days of the week. And got some stuff about Access game factories and 60 terabyte hard drives. It's all good stuff. You can join with any account. Come on in. We don't bite. We devour and swallow whole. There's also youtube.com/LinuxGameCast, where we have lots and lots of videos that you should totally watch and not write rude comments on, or write rude comments on. We need fuel for our hate mail segment.
Mm-hmm.
Got players, reviews, how-tos, B-reels, all that good shit. And finally, we have, I guess Pedro wants to mention that thing, but we're going to skip over that anyways. Reddit.com/r/Linux_gaming, our favorites, or rather our second favorite Kiwi beaten with the ugly stick. Lots of interesting gaming news and discussions and how-tos and interesting stuff that don't get covered in other forums, because why not? So that's a thing. But Ven, I hear you want to brag about your new video card some more.
Oh, well, since you put it like that, absolutely I do. And that comes in the form of this week's PSA. And I don't like recommending hardware unless I own it, but guess what? I own it. So, brilliant as this is the MSI Video Graphics N770 Twin Frozer 2 gig OC edition. And well, basically, it's a more powerful version of the 680 for a lot less money, 14% less powerful than the 780, which is priced over 250 wet stinkies more than the 770. Runs out of the box on Linux. That was one of the fun things somebody wrote, and they said, well, what's the difference between installing this, onto Linux and my Windows partition? And I actually had the thought, I said, I have never installed an NVIDIA card under Windows in my entire life. I have installed a 3DFX Voodoo 1 under Windows, but that was the last time. And at 1080p, this thing crushes everything, including Metro Last Light.
What about 1440p?
Oh, well, beats me, because I don't have 1440p on a 1080p monitor. How about you?
Oh, that monitor is kind of in the process of getting ordered, so there's that.
In the process.
That's a definite buy. Pick it up, and if you got 339.99 wet stinky caches laying around, definite buy. It's perfect, well priced, stupid performance. You'll be happy with it for the long foreseeable future, in my not so humble opinion. Oh, well.
You know what's not humble? The smell. This goddamn smell.
Oh, I was going to say the humble indie company, but
anyways. Yeah, I was going bundle myself, but if you're talking about damn dirty horses.
Yeah, if you're talking about damn dirty horses, then you can't get more damned and more dirty than our Steam
Lex
update of the week.
Half-Life 2 beta updated, oh my god, because this doesn't really mean shit to anyone on Linux, except for the 2 people who have the Oculus Rifts hooked in. I did notice that this was an option on the 770 with the latest 320 drivers. It is the UI VR thing, and it I don't know how it would work, because when you try to enable it, I just did it out of curiosity, it makes a function call to a DLL. I was like, it's probably not going to load. Probably not. Not a betting man, but... So, threw that in the notes. Outside of that, remove the IPD calibration. This is basically just for the VR for the Oculus Rift. Doesn't really mean anything to anyone, but I just thought I would throw that in there, and I just noticed it when I was trying to play.
Valve is technically developing their own VR system.
No, actually they were. Jerry Ellsworth was developing that, and Valve decided not to pursue it, and good guy Gabe said, here, Jerry, you can have the tech, and they're running with it.
Oh, cool. Sweet.
The more you know.
we'd have a rainbow on here, but it would be like a death blood rainbow
Of punches.
of punches. Yeah, so Megabyte
Punch.
Punch, which we've spoken about a few times, is finally getting a Linux client on the Steams. I own it on Desura. That's actually a pretty fun game. If you like Mega Man, or if you like Super Smash Bros, or some sort of unholy hybrid of the two, this is your game. The one downside, though, is that the only multiplayer is couch multiplayer, and that kind of fucking sucks.
You know, that really
But
seems to be like the huge complaint.
If you have an unwitting roommate that you can rope into playing with you, it's actually pretty fun.
That's been my only thing about looking at it. Is the people that I have available to sit down and play something like that, I don't want to play games with them. So, multiplayer, add that, guys. What's that going to run us?
Yeah, I bought it for like $15. What was it? It's
$14.99.
$15 on the Steams. So that's the thing. You know what? I'd wait for it to go on sale, but.
Hey,
I paid full price for it. I enjoyed it. I felt I got my money's worth. So,
Tell us about some DOSBox.
DOSBox. Actually, this is Wasteland 1, and it seems to be the first non-native game to make its headway into Steam's Linux client. And honestly, I haven't tried it yet. I don't know how well it works, but I did look at their forums on the Steam community, and they say it's working, so good on them for that.
I mean, DOSBox works under Linux. I mean, I play.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, you gotta look at the systems here. I mean, it's Windows, Mac, and Linux, but I think it's cute because there's no video.
Yeah, there is no video because back then you couldn't capture video in DOS.
EGA just really couldn't push those pixels.
If you don't know what Wasteland is, it's basically the precursor to the Fallout series. Brian Fargo, the original creator, he didn't have enough money to purchase the Wasteland IP from EA or Ubisoft. It was one of those. So he developed Fallout with Interplay instead. This is the precursor, like 1993, 1992. Well, somewhere back then.
Way back in caveman times.
Yep. But, you know,
It's
if you want to
there.
play it on Linux, you can get it for like, what, $7?
Yeah, $5.99
$5.99, yeah.
for the first time in
$5.99.
20 years.
So you know what? I was never that big a DOS gamer back in the day, so I feel a bit estranged in this conversation.
Well, people are strange when you're estranged.
Faces come out of the brain when you're strange. And no one remembers your name.
man.
But this is Estranged. This is a free game made with the Source SDK that you can download for Windows, or more importantly, download for Linux. It's actually kind of interesting. It's a survival horror thing. The installation is a bit too complex for your average Arch user.
Arch!
But,
Arch.
I mean, really, it's you. The freaking instructions are more complex than it actually needs to be, because you just untar it into your Steam apps /source mods directory and then restart Steam and it's there. And well, you also do need the 2003 Source SDK.
And
that's 4 gigs.
Yeah, I was about to say that fucker clocks in quite a bit.
It does. I let it download because why not? You know what? I get some random freezes and herky jerks.
See, I got the
really,
herky jerks.
really. It only happens when I'm changing areas.
I get the herky jerks with everything on 11 when I make like a vast sweep in a new area. And it's like, and I was like,
Actually, that's caused by the DirectX 9 shader. They made a custom shader for the game in DirectX, which guess what, doesn't work under Linux, but it's still getting loaded.
Though actually, technically, it can work under Linux because Mesa does have DirectX support, but.
If you're using an AMD card with the open source drivers, yeah, it could work, but I tried it and it didn't. The only thing it did was kill my frame rate.
But in other calculator, you know what? I think we need to go to the nuclear option.
Yeah.
Dawn is pitting, and this is live. If you already own Nucleon, you know what it is. Nucleon is the first game to offer full FPS and RTS, so that means it's going to be a clusterfuck, and we'll probably review it next week with a single gameplay model without clipping. Yeah, that's clusterfuck. It looks all right. What engine is this? Is this running Source?
Yep, this is a Source engine.
Source game. You can download the beta right now with the immediate source if you right-click and do Linux beta, no password, just restart Steam, boom, it'll start downloading. It'll be like an additional 800 megs on top of that, because if you don't do that, it'll let you install it, but it'll be missing the executable.
Yep.
Loaded it, futzed with it for just a moment, because I didn't have much time today. It looks all right. It's priced right, no matter what.
Yeah,
$10.
that it is.
Wait, is that $10 or $5?
$9.99.
That's
$10.
So 10 wet sneaky caches. Even if you loathe and hate it, you give it to somebody else. But we'll definitely be giving that a spin because it might have some multiplayer in it. Oh yeah, maybe possibly.
Yep. And
Mayhaps.
basically, it's natural selection 2 in the Source engine. Let's see.
So does it crash on boot? Is that what it means?
Actually, there have been
haven't tried
reports
it
of
yet.
random freezing and maps not loading correctly. So, yeah, as I think we said last week, and it was like, oh, put that on the board, guys. Let's see if they can do it. But, not all streams are yellow. Some of them are gray.
Also, some of them are
Yes.
bright blood red, but that's another story for another day. This is Steam streaming. They finally released some details about that. There's a beta group that you can join as well. I know I did.
Tell me about it. Never heard of it.
Yep.
So this is tech licensed from NVIDIA, their Shield little handheld thing with their game streaming. One of the more interesting things that are supposed to come from SteamOS allows you to play some of your Windblows games on a Linux box via rendering it on your Windows machine and then streaming it to an output on your Steam box. The article itself sort of discusses the sort of technical hurdles and whatnot. They explain the things they have to do to get around wireless limitations and how you should really be doing this on gigabit network because gigabit Ethernet is just awesome. I love it so much. I was stuck on wireless N for like 5 years, and then I finally got my own place with gigabit networking, and I would just transfer files from one computer to another.
And giggles with a small erection.
That was about half
Tiny
joke.
direction.
But they're discussing responsiveness, the basic architecture of how this thing will work. It's an interesting article. Nothing quite concrete just yet. They do have a Q&A.
I like the little Q&A right here. It's like, how do I get selected to participate in the beta? And the answer should just be like, Steam, hello, question mark, hello, question mark. When we feel like it. But you can join the Steam and Home, as J-Man said, group, and maybe that'll help you out.
Actually, the join group button is right in the article, too. So
Yeah.
if you go click on our show notes, you can join that ASAP.
And, can I use it to stream games across the interwebs? No. But apparently,
Whoa, VPN. No, that probably wouldn't work too well.
Yeah. So that's a thing, man. I'm kind of excited to see what it'd be interesting to be able to, pause a game, pick it up on a tablet.
Yep.
That's
one of the
might
things they
certainly be a
advertise.
thing.
But I'd hate it if it had to be a Tegra tablet.
You know what?
Well,
Given that it's NVIDIA tech, you might have to have a
yeah. Then again, if you have a transformer, even the primes, the 201, those are already Tegra 3.
Yeah, my
4.
TF-101 is a Tegra 2, so I mean,
Yeah.
they're fairly ubiquitous. But if you have, say, a Snapdragon or an Exynos in your tablet, then
I'm pretty sure anything like this is going to require a Tegra 4 architecture.
probably. But you know what? It's gonna need. Actually, you know what? On a tablet, because shitty tablet Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
You need some wireless AC for that. So what's that's it. It's time to shove
Yep.
our rotten gelatinous horse back under the porch.
Poor horsey.
Yes. Spray
The
some
air was
Febreze
already
about
clearing
lighten
out.
up the stench.
And then,
My throat
seriously,
appreciates it.
seriously, P-Man, make the horse wrap it up next time because we're going to have you constantly sick.
Yeah, I know.
with horse cancer.
It's terrible.
Horse AIDS cancer. Just when you
next,
thought it
it's
couldn't
the
get
news.
worse. Pedro gets sodomized by a
Nay
horse.
means no.
Damn it.
Or yes, horses have a fairly limited vocabulary, so
Just don't look at his horse next time. By horse, I mean penis, and by
yeah,
penis, I mean...
don't give it a lick because it does not taste like raisins. I tried, and then I got horse cancer AIDS.
Yep.
Well, what's up next, Richard?
What's up next? News.
Welcome back to the news, if you'll pardon my voice. But starting us off this week, who's starting us off? Well, you guys are the ones with the NVIDIA cards. Ven?
Well, starting
You
off
gotta
this
do it.
week, this is kind of a meh announcement, but it's got a little bit of yay in it. The 331.2Z is out. 32-bit, 64-bit, supported, works swimmingly on the 770 Ti. The biggest thing in here that, some people have skipped over is like the first thing. This is the NVFB-COPNGL. This library provides a high-performance, low-latency interface to capture and optionally encode the composited frame. Oh, I've heard of people doing shit like this before.
It's almost
You
as
did.
if you can record output from your GPU and put it in a file.
With very
Yes.
minimum overhead. And there's one thing about MSI. They even have their own product called Predator that uses this exclusively under Windows. And yes, I've already shot them off an email and threatened to kidnap top-ranking CEO's children, as is LGC tradition.
Again, Ven.
Again, to see if we can get some of this goodness, be it command line or whatever. But this, you're saying, what is this crazy sauce supposed to mean to me? Think FRAPS for Linux, even though that does exist in the form of GLC, but it's so complicated that, not anyone can really use it outside of like me and 3 other people. So this would be good to stick a GUI on it. Some fun stuff, and hopefully it'll work better with Steam runtime so it doesn't try to think that you're, hacking the interwebs. But that said, P-Man, there's some other stuff, because you got one of these driver thingy computers, right?
Yep. It's basically AMD still trying to fall into Linux good graces, not with its proprietary driver, which sucks, but contributing to the open source, the Mesa project. And this comes directly from Free Desktop Cgit, and it's the commit to introduce support for the new Hawaii family of GPUs, like the R9 290s and 270s, the good ones that have been on the news recently.
Yeah,
So-
it's going to take a while to get used to that new naming convention.
Yeah, and if you actually go through the source code, that's basically all they do. I actually had a look at it. All they do is add support for the new cards, so really not much else is coming in the 313 kernel in terms of open source drivers, that is.
I'm looking forward to like 50 years from now when I build a computer and I can stick an AMD card in my Linux box and it work right off the bat beautifully.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things we're definitely facing today, because AMD's got some bitchingly good cards on Windows that
Yep.
are bitchingly priced, but they're just covered with nope stickers. So you couldn't even fit
they
them
can't
into a regular
they can't
box.
code a driver worth the fuck. Unfortunately, that's
And good
reality
thing
of it.
then that they're learning that other people will happily code drivers for them.
Yeah.
So,
But you know what?
we talk about daft people. People.
Yeah, let's take a moment to just laugh at dumb people.
All right.
How about
This is from PCGamer.com, and this fucking intellectual
Look at this.
titan-
Look at this.
Look, yeah, I was telling you about this earlier. I'm like, why the fuck do I need a password and a username? What? Just hit cancel. It doesn't do anything. But anyways, This fucking
won't
titan
go
of
away.
but
You have to
that
hit cancel a bunch of times.
I had to hit it once. I don't know what the fuck.
Ah!
Wow. While Ben sorts this out, I'll give you the Eclipse Notes. Basically, this guy, fucking Buddy Craig
This
Pearson,
guy.
decides, I'm going to try and run Linux, but I don't want to use command line, and I don't want to do any of that shit because I'm dumb. So here's the thing. Saying you don't want to use command line in Linux is like getting behind the wheel of the car and saying, I don't want to use the gas pedals to drive.
Yep.
It's just, you have to learn how to use the operating system. There is a learning curve for Windows too. If you come right from a Linux system to a Windows system, you're going to be going, what the fuck is this shit?
Well, it's something
Nothing works.
You know, even from Mac or Windows, when you first sat down at one of these moon devices, you didn't know what the fuck you were doing. It doesn't matter if it was Windows, Mac OS, HPUX, AIX, Solaris, Xenix, any of that business, and this guy goes on. I mean, first of all, strike one, you're using Ubuntu. That's, you know, I'm sorry, that's still my first Linux, except it's like the red-headed bastard of Linux. No one likes it anymore.
Yep.
It's bad news. It's a cancer on open source.
It's a horse AIDS cancer on open source.
As one has
Yep.
been known to call it, that he's bitching around. He's like, oh, your games should don't work.
No, I like this line. I left my knowledge of the terminal back with my 28-inch Wasteland. What a fucking guy.
Yeah, so, you know.
Hey, I'm skinny and my waist is 10 inches wider. What the hell?
You know, I guess you were trying to say, you know, you're old and you're set in your ways. That's brilliant. But, you know, I apologize that you're forced to write for something that actually still publishes a magazine. So you're probably a slave to something that ends with soft for your advertisements. No shock there. I'm glad you actually... Go ahead.
I also like the fact that he decides that the best way to experience Linux is on an Optimus-enabled laptop.
Yep, that caught my attention right off the bat.
You need a Linux and you really want a hard time? I got a solution for you.
Run Ubuntu on an Optimus laptop.
Bumblebee.
Good choice.
Bumblebee and Primus. but this guy, all this guy's complaints is it's different. I don't like it.
Yeah, but you know what? I absolutely love to read about the generalized games media journalists trying Linux for the first time, and they use Ubuntu, and then Ubuntu shits all over itself, and I always get a smile on my face.
Pedro, but you gotta understand, note, just after I finished this article, the grub bootloader that allowed me to dual boot the OS is corrupted. I wiped Ubuntu and reclaimed the HD space. Maybe next year, eh?
Well, you know what? First off, Grub didn't get corrupted. Your fucking Windows update fucked with the bootloader.
Yep.
Thus caused Grub to fuck up. Because Microsoft likes to think that it's the only operating system running on the...
Yeah, and things on Linux don't fuck themselves up. They need user input to fuck themselves up. That's just the way it goes.
That's truly a thing. But gentlemen, now we have in the past got ready to humble, but now we can apparently buy indulgences.
Yes.
Yes, apparently we can bumble our way to the Humble store.
Humble our ass over there, huh?
Humble, yeah, where they have... Oh, look, it's Skullgirls without a Linux port. Oh, look.
I wonder how that Linux volunteers working with the money I gave them for that Linux port that I fucking haven't seen yet. No, this is a thing, even though it's kind of been a thing, but apparently it's a news thing, even though it's still a thing. Humble has officially launched their store. You can scroll down, you know, they're good enough to say, you know, what runs what. You can sort it like that. They have had a few good deals.
Yes.
Yeah, didn't you pick up Prostitute Murder Simulator 2013?
I was checking mirrors the entire time. I played that all the way till I had to back up and part, and I was like, nope, I need a wheel for this, you know. So I kind of noped out at that point. But this might be a good place to, you know, screech in, maybe pick up some Steam keys for something. That is that. But, you know, there's one thing I really want to say is, you know, Humble, here's the thing at the end of the day.
Take a shot.
Thank you. If you were still, you know, the DRM-free, cross-platform, demanding, lovable guys that you once were, I'd give you a pass. You would deserve it. Thing is, you've honestly just become another faceless store that, well, just a faceless store. Your corporation is concerned about money. And guess what? We already have one of those. It's called Valve. And they do it better.
Yep.
Harder,
And
faster,
also-
better, and stronger.
Also, Steam doesn't bundle wine games inside deb files and calls it a Linux version. You know, Limbo. Because they're still selling that, and they're still claiming that's a Linux game.
But it runs on the Linux. So who cares how it runs on the Linux? It
Put on
runs
your war
the
face.
Linux. Fields of War. It's kind of like that Megadeth song, except less Jesus. Fields of War has officially launched, according to their website, thermalerosion.com.
Remember last time? It was called the Mail Erosion.
Mail erosion.
You called it that.
So it's one of these mech combat games. Has lots and lots of big. What was it? Yeah, they claim 100 versus 100 multiplayer versus.
Check out that big UI on Brad.
I know it's like it reminds me of GIMP.
Yep.
That reminds me of like the early versions of Blender, man. We're talking like 2001.
You know, we have our own GIMP-based game too. It's called GIMP Tacto.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So
maybe we should start a Kickstarter.
Yeah, right.
But anyways,
this is this game, it has mechs, and in a way I'd be all over 200 people, you know, simultaneous 200 players playing Mech Warrior on the same server and killing each other. I'd be all over that.
except for the latency.
This isn't it.
Well,
this
here's the
really
thing,
isn't it.
I saw the there was a post by the developers. It might have been all Linux_gaming, or it might have just been all Linux. Somebody's like, "Oh, truly 100 on 100," and the developer back was like, "Yes, that was captured in game with real one." And I was like, "That's bullshit."
Yeah.
You guys
good luck finding 100 people.
Well, they gave us keys. I guess they forgot about that long many moons ago, and I was like, let me log into this thing. On a good day, you might find 3 people on 3. All right, if you want to spend $14.99 to have a 1-on-199 AI combat scenario, have that, but have no illusion, because you know, nothing against the game. It's amateur, it's super amateur. It's their first attempt at trying anything like this. They have no idea how it's really going to handle underload. I mean, they have fuck all idea, because I've never seen anybody playing the game. So you're welcome to buy it through PayPal. I mean, it does work. I don't have any problems with it. It just kind of looks.
No, it runs out of the box.
So that's the whole thing. But Pandora, man, I see you.
Yep.
You know, let's let that horse out of the box, as it were.
Pandora First Contact is now available for your Linuxes.
We've been playing this for a while, haven't we?
Yeah, if you you kind of have to look over the price point, because I personally would not pay $30 for this. I really wouldn't. But
well, would you pay $50 for a boxed version? Because
nope.
Boxes.
No. There's a new price, $44.99, with 3 easy payments and 1 hard payment.
But yeah,
oh yeah.
expensive price point aside, it's Civilization with a sci-fi do-over. It was actually inspired by another Sid Meier's game, Alpha Centauri. And it's also got some SimCity features to it. Like, people will move out of cities if the pollution's too bad, so you risk losing citizens to the enemy and all that. And the last feature actually caught my eye because it's basically written consent to cheat your ass off in the game. So good on them for that.
Easily moddable XML data.
Is it turn-based?
Yes, it is
Then
turn-based strategy.
Nope. Over here. Go ahead.
Yeah, X-Grid turn-based strategy. It's admittedly not for everyone, myself included. Although I did play the beta. Fixed one of their bugs for them. They appreciated it. Gave me a 50% off coupon. That
Yeah, and you know what? You'll need it.
So that's 1 to 6. You can that $29.99 Wet Stinkies excludes VAT, so you're gonna get fucked on that.
So if you're in Europe, then this Fun Times just got a lot more expensive for you.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
Maybe,
if you're in Europe,
maybe
let's see
we'll
how
hold
much it costs.
a contest for Pedro's 50% off coupon.
23.99 euros. It's really not that bad.
So that's a thing, and that's going to be the thing that rounds us out for the news. But
oh yeah,
we're going to be a bit forced to end it, aren't we?
Yeah,
man.
and those chairs, they're getting rusty. They need a bit of force.
Oh yeah.
How long
Yeah.
has it been on?
How long has it been on me? I don't know. I got an email from my boss. I got to look at it. That's just how it works.
Well,
Or else I
hopefully
can't
Jesus
afford all
isn't
these
too
shiny
busy
ones.
and he'll let you come back for the review.
Forced. And we're back, and we have to force this one out. It's our review of Forced. Oh, I think I just popped Blessed Vessel. From Beta Dwarf, it's a Unity game, and you can pick it up for 1,296.75 Kenyan shillings. Or for those of you who can't math, $14.99. This is I don't know what exactly I would call it. It's an action game where you run around arenas and you try and destroy shit and kill people and try to stay alive. So we grade everything on this cracked out fucking scale of ours. We use lawn chairs instead of stars or percents because we're hardcore like that. Ben, show them the chair explanation.
We chose not the chairs, they chose us.
Sure, whatever you say, sweetheart. But we have our 1 chair score, which means that it's absolute shit. 2 chairs means that it's moderate to acceptable. 3 chairs means that it's pretty good. And 4 chairs means, well, Pedro is going to show you with his O face. Yeah. For you audio listeners, you should really just download the video for that one part. But anyways, we also have our categories of doom. Mixed with the working, shiny and sounds, controls, and fun. All of these are fairly self-explanatory if you can't figure them out by now. Well, then you might just be a Pedro. So, Ven, does Forced make with the working?
Does it make with your working? Now look at this right here in the video. From
Fuck
Video
your
Game
game.
Awesome. Fuck your game. Well, in all fairness, it does say it's fucking fun. Well, you know what? Honestly,
We'll get to the fun later on.
yeah, well, we got a lot of lies at the beginning.
Certainly people haven't been spending too much time with this game under Linux, but then
under Linux now, originally we've been playing this for fuck mothering ever. Seriously, we
Yes.
have. And over iterations, I mean, it just went from just noping, and you've seen some of our earlier players with it. We found some like naming bugs to where I wanted to name it something simple like, Turbo Cock Smasher 9000. That didn't work. Then I was like, all right, fuck it, Bob. he was like, no, that name's inappropriate. I was like, Bob's Bob, man. So
Bob is Bob.
Was definitely an issue with it, but since the latest patch and our latest Cocaine Voltron edition, which means all three of us are playing, didn't run in, well, personally on this end, and get ready to take a shot playing on our Ubuntu-powered, actually, I got this plugged in for the time being, GeForce 770 on an 8-core processor running, 1204, all that. At the end of the day, well...
Take another shot.
I'm going to give it 3
chairs. You know
what?
Take 3 shots.
Because...
3 chairs.
I can't promise you that you won't run into the naming bug for the games, because I did run into that one more again, as they may say. J-Man!
Yeah.
It runs, so that's certainly a thing, but the controller support is a bit flaky. I tried my Xbox controller and was unable to turn around, switched to roommate's PlayStation 3 controller spare thingy here, which has nice support in Linux, actually. But yeah, it works. You got to remap all your controls whenever you quit the game. That gets kind of annoying. So, but other than that, it runs fine. I'll give it 3 chairs.
And on the calculator, it crashes randomly if I'm using the FGLRX drivers. I would blame AMD for that, but nope. 3 chairs.
Well, it's always AMD's fault, so that rounds out our total. Oh man, a D4 just dropped on the floor. This is going to be painful. That rounds out our picks with the working score to 3 chairs. Next is Shiny and Sounds, and Ven, you have some things to say about voice work.
Well, voice work, Shiny and Sounds. I like the music. The music's not metal, but it's really good for what it is. Hell, I can even actually tolerate some of the voice work. It doesn't kill me. The Shiny, I'm going to have to touch on that. We're looking here in the video. For audio listeners, it's a video. While impressive for an indie team, it's still meh. It's not bad, but it's just like you're just almost there and just not quite enough to, blow my eye pussies apart. So, definitely, Shiny and Sounds, gotta be honest with ourselves here, 2 chairs.
Yeah, I'm pretty much going to have to agree with Ven on all these points. I don't really have much to add. He more or less encapsulated all the things I had to say about Shiny and Sounds with his little blurb. I was actually, for an indie game, I was actually fairly impressed with the voice acting, I have to say, though, because, like, our other example, I guess, is Curse of the Nordic Cove, which was actually also fairly decent voice acting for an indie game. But, like the man said,
you can remember that Curse of the Nordic Cove was made for like $2 in a taco.
Yeah, I know. This one, wasn't this game was interesting because it was made by like college students who were like renting out a house.
Epic story behind it that it will cover in the fun section.
Oh yeah,
yes.
But 2 chairs for Shiny and Sounds. I'm rambling now. P-Man.
Yeah. Personally, the Shiny, it's Torchlight. If you've played Torchlight, you won't have your eye pussies, like Ven put it, blown out or anything. But when it comes to the sounds, they reuse sound effects to exhaustion. That boss fight that we tried to do on our last players, it proved just that. The boss keeps going and
Ven keeps falling.
Yeah, Ven keeps falling. I think that was the one redeeming point to that. But
though, I have to interject and say this: the basically gave you the timing for how to avoid his attack. So
yeah, but it got obnoxiously repetitive real fast, so 2 chairs.
Well, it seems that we're at a rare consensus for both makes with the working and shiny and sounds. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Sock?
Yes. Yeah, I'd agree.
What the fuck? Ah. But coming up next is
2
Control.
chairs, shiny and sounds.
2 chairs, shiny and sounds. Up next, Controls. Then you're the outlier in this. Why don't you start?
Outlier with this, definitely using the, again, on the Ubuntu test boxing, using the Xclone controller, which already has shaky randomy bits falling about in it. No issues. Everything worked as best as you could expect these things to work. There's no problem, comrades. So, 4 chair, I give.
I wasn't too big a fan of the control scheme. Aiming and whatnot gets really scrambly because you basically take these 2 sticks right here and you go, "Wah!" as you try to aim at stuff.
Like you don't know how to work 2 sticks.
Oh, you know what? I'm an expert at working 2 sticks, and I found this tedious. Giggity. Yeah, the keyboard controls aren't really any better because you're basically just it's basically like playing Hammer Fight, if you remember that from Humbla Boondla 2 or 3 or whatever it was.
Oh, you mean Swing Wireless Dribble Off Mouse Test Simulator?
Pretty
Yes.
much, yeah, because you again, you're like trying to spin in a circle and you know, I'm not a fan of this control scheme at all. I will give it that it actually works all right in terms of the context of the game. I can actually still accomplish what I set out to do when the controller, of course, is working, as Pedro might get into. So I'm gonna give this 2 chairs. It works, but it doesn't work particularly well.
Yeah, I think.
You spin me. Wait, no, you don't at all. Round.
You spin me 20 degrees.
Yeah. Stop.
Yep, pretty much. In neither of our players videos, could I actually turn all 360 degrees?
You got to explain this moon contraption that you're using to control with, though.
It's a PS2 DualShock controller. It's
We have the
Using a
same
converter.
color controller. Go Team Blue
Yeah, it's-
controller.
pretty standard. So I don't get why do I have to every time the game starts I have to reset and remap all the controls to be able to actually turn my character, because if I don't, I can only turn in like 20 degrees like Jordan said, basically. Just that diagonal down there, just that's all you're facing. And to me, in considering the type of game that it is, that's grounds to give it 1 chair.
Ooh, not very nice. So this will come out to 2 chairs for controls. And now for our final subjective category, fun. And I'm contractually obligated to remind you that we are 3 different people on 3 different sets of hardware running 3 really 2 different operating systems. So, or rather, Linux distros, which you could classify as individual operating systems, but that depends on your pedantry. Anyways, Ven, did you have fun?
Single player. Let's be honest. No, single player is miserable. It's boring. I mean,
Yeah.
I would rather try to shag a leprechaun than a leprechaun even. Then
With horse AIDS cancer?
now
With horse AIDS cancer.
that would actually encourage me to attempt to try to shag a leprechaun with horse AIDS cancer. But we're talking about your standard run of the mill leprechaun, and no, single player is rubbish. Don't bother with it. The only chance you're going to have any amount of fun with this game is with multiplayer. And we're not talking 2 people. Cocaine Voltron edition. Minimum of 3 people playing with audio support, so you have fuck all idea what's going on. You don't have any illusion that you're just going to have, because you can't tell who's who. I mean, that's with the sprites and the pixels, and they make with the mashing, and it gets all with the blurry.
Yep.
It gets very difficult to figure out what's going on. So I can't give it 1 because we did have a bit of fun, but I can't give it 3 because you put the 3 of us in OBGY in Kenobi Simulator. We're gonna have a good time regardless. That said,
that actually sounds like a fun game. I kind of want to play it.
I'm gonna give it a wet stinky 2 chairs, J-Man.
So the first time I played this game, it was with these clowns for what I thought was going to be a player's episode that got scrapped. And I realized pretty much immediately that this game is no fun on your own. You basically need to have it. Having people playing this game with you is mandatory to derive any real enjoyment from it.
Yep.
The gameplay itself is, I find it rather lackluster, to be perfectly honest. It doesn't really do anything new. It's basically 4-player gauntlet that you can change your class each time you go to a new level. You twirl your joysticks around, if you can even turn around, because I ran into the same problem Pedro did, but with my 360 controller. Like I said, if you have people and it's just kind of a thing you do as you sort of hang out with your friends, then yeah, it can be fun.
And multiplayer online.
Yeah, but on its own, maybe even couch. I haven't tried couch multiplayer yet. Does that even support it? I think so. Actually, I think you know what? Would it even support like hybrid couch online multiplayer? That might be interesting.
Double giggity.
But that would but yeah, this is a 2-chair game in terms of fun. It's really only fun under very specific circumstances. So I'll leave it at that. Pedro.
Yeah, you guys pretty much already touched on everything I was going to. And all I can say beyond what you guys said is I see where they were going with this, but when it comes to execution, it fails miserably. And again, Linux needs a good action RPG. We don't have any Skyrims. The last good Linux RPG was Torchlight, and it's by far a much better game than this one.
You know, it's nothing to lose your head over, though.
Yeah,
but
the only thing that this game has that Torchlight doesn't is multiplayer, and that's really the only selling point for this. Get as many people as you can together and have at. I will say this though, it's better than Legends of Aetherius. It's still better than Legends of Aetherius
because you can play it.
Yep, 2 chairs
without your computer dying from. Hell, I would even struggle to call this an RPG. It is an arcade action co-op game. There's like no role playing elements.
So what's our final on our
final score is 2 chairs because I don't feel like pretending I can't do math. So yeah, so that again, if we bring back the chair explanation, 2 chairs means that it's meh. This game is meh. Don't pay $15 for it. Wait until it goes on sale for dirt ass cheap. And
yep.
only
and
if
the
you
winter
have
sale is coming, so
and only if you
pick it
have
up at
people to play this
75%
game
off.
Well, I mean, yeah, I understand why you don't want to pay 1,296.75 Kenyan shillings for it, and I also agree with P-Man that winter is coming. I would say maybe a 10 quid game because it's something you might pick up once, maybe twice, on a chance, because there's definitely a 50-50. This is either going to be your bee's knees, or this is going to be something that you're going to go, meh.
Yep. And I think that about wraps it up.
Yeah, that wraps up our review segment for Forced. Now, I must add an addendum because this is the first game from a group of people who basically worked very, very hard to pump this out. And while their first attempt isn't their best, I'd like to see more stuff from these guys.
I'd like to see a bit more. I mean, I hated to use the word forced. When I was first writing out this review with the chairs and stuff like that, I always had this constant feeling that this is no pun intended because I didn't know the story at the time. I was like, this just feels rushed. And then you come and find the story that they were just pretty much fuck all out of money at the time. And they were getting it out of the door. And I was like, that's a heartwarming story, but the game still needs a bit more work, gentlemen.
Yeah, but you know what?
Yeah.
As a for a first attempt, 2 chairs is not bad at all.
Yep.
So coming up next, we have your hate mail live on air.
And we finally come to the part where we stop screaming at you and we read what you screamed at us over the past week and a half. But first, let's educate you chitlins on how to contact us. If you don't know how to use an email client by now, shame on you, but there's a little contact button over on LinuxGameCast.com. You just push that contact button and you fill out your name, fill out your email, give us a subject, write your message down there. Although, a word of caution, if you're trying to promote your Indiegogo, Steam Greenlight, Kickstarter project, anything, include a link to a Linux prototype, because if you don't, we're not going to talk about it. Sorry.
Or we'll just
Not
make
really.
fun of it and not give you money.
But
I
yeah,
mean, that's
just-
how we roll.
Definitely
Yep.
something like that. So, coming up first, a friend of the show, kind of.
Oh, hi, Chris.
Somebody been on their show, the Linux Action Show, back. Unfortunately, you see, the thing with the Linux Action Show, it was cancelled about almost a year and a half ago.
Really?
And,
Do go on.
Chris Fisher and Brian Lunduke were both killed and replaced by aliens who had personality conflicts. The aliens didn't count on that, and so that alien found out another guy named Matt Houtley, and they continued doing something called the Linux Action Show, but it really wasn't the Linux Action Show.
Yeah.
But Chris writes in and he does say, this is one of his G Plus posts. Hey, not at you, man. Fish, giving us a bit of a promotion. Some Metro Last Light has recently released a AAA title for Linux, and the Linux GameCast guys do a much better job covering Metro Last Light than I could. Now, normally, that would just be like, oh, that's cool. The reason I put this in. Sentence 2. Well, yeah, 2. Too bad I lapped them on episode release time. Must be that arch speed.
Must be that OS 10 workstation you do all your editing on.
And
Mr.
recording
I
on.
call myself Linux Action Show
And streaming on. And
At least it's not a Hackintosh anymore, so.
Well, I mean, we have our little Hackintosh too. Except this is like a Hackintosh with a fucking machine gun attached to it.
mm-hmm.
Yep.
And it's not a Mac and it's running Linux. So
Yeah.
you got to look at it like that. That's something, thanks for giving us a plug, guys. Matt also shared a plug. I love Matt too. I mean, I like the old Linux Action Show. The new Linux Action Show, that's just not my dice, but I wish those guys the best.
It needs a little Lunduke every now and again.
Well, yeah, the chemistry changed, and like with all things, you pick and choose, you move on, and all that. And I still love them both, but with that, we had a fun time doing it, and at the end of the day, good on you lot.
But remember, we do this all under Linux. All three of us are using Linux. Ven is recording this under Linux. He edits this under Linux, and he publishes this under Linux. And I'm pretty sure that
he also makes
servers
sandwiches
are
under
running Linux.
Sometimes
So
I even drink beer under Linux.
Oh man, that's some dangerous talk.
So tell me about the mango, J-Man.
Mr. Mango says
Wake
he wants
me
us
up.
to wake him up. He says, if I give you my Skype name, will you do a wake-up call for your next live show? Looking forward to this one. Nice
Winky
one.
face.
By the way, Ben, where do you pick up your British words from? I'm going to say Britain.
yep.
True story. Welcome to the show, Mr. Mango. No, he's been watching the show for a bit.
Yep.
It's bad English is what it is. Pedro will attest to this. You think in Portuguese. You do?
Yeah, I do. I was taught that way. I was programmed that way. I have to literally translate everything to English before I say it.
Right,
And, well,
and I
sometimes
think I'm
I
Dutch,
fuck
and
it
when
up.
I'm speaking live, sometimes UK slips out because I kind of grew up there. Not native, but I went to primary and secondary, and I even went to uni there. And so sometimes some of that asshoudery crowning comes out when I'm looking for a word, and I just revert to something I know. And it's one of the
Bollocks.
well, you look at the difference between, like, you got a minivan versus a people carrier. You got a semi-truck versus a lorry. Sometimes I can't get the English right, so I fall back to
English.
yeah. True story.
Hey, it's better than American, which I've been
It's
told
better
that's what
than
my
just
accent
watching you
sounds like.
stammer. Well, actually, it's not as entertaining as watching you stammer sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As for the wake up call, though, I have something envisioned like this. There was this cartoon shared online a while ago, and it was this person waking up, turning around, and the king from Burger King is there. So I'm thinking this, except all of us dressed as various fast food mascots. And then just start.
I want to be Denny's, so I guess I'll just wear a clown outfit.
But anyways,
Well, I got the hair to pull off Wendy's now.
No. Tom Duchesne is Wendy.
Oh,
You can be-
yeah.
You can be like,
Who the fuck are
I
you,
don't know.
Grimace?
yes, the Hamburglar. Except I'll carry a real gun.
That's like a trauma movie waiting to be just.
Yes.
Yep.
Someone get Lloyd Kaufman on the phone and.
Oh man, well that's gonna wrap it up for the hate mail. But you can always scream that hate mail like the P-Man said. Tips, tricks, hints, allegations, requests, and things better left unsaid. Keep in mind with the crowdfunding campaigns. But let's just go ahead and cue that music. So, where can they find us, sir?
LinuxGameCast.com, where there's a podcast link up at the top there. Look at it. It's all white and podcasty. We got RSS feeds, we got donato buttons, a handy e-stocking guide, and some affiliate links. You should click on those and buy shit from Amazon. I guess we have to thank someone this week.
Yes, we do.
We do. It's who is this freaking person? Chris D
Chris.
sent us $10.
Chris D.
How about he's actually in the show notes right now?
Hey,
How
Chris.
about that? Oh, hi, Chris.
Well, it'd be interesting if it was Mike D, then we can give him some respect. Because your
True
cash
dat.
and your money is what
True
I
dat.
expect.
There's also our chat realm statically linked. It's our forum. You can sign on with any account and go there and behold the train wreck.
Well, we are the other 6 days of the week. We also have this YouTubes. Check it out. It's a real thing. It's a real boy. This is where you can find all the past episodes. If you like the flashy goodness and don't want to pick them down on the sites, you can find the reviews, how-tos, players, etc., etc. We also have Kiwis. We love Kiwis. And this is our second favorite one. Linux_gaming from the Reddits. Good news in here. We pick and choose the choicest bits for Linux GameCast Weekly. But at the end of the day, take a shot because there's also a Linux drinking game. That's in Chatroom Static in our forums.
Ooh, we almost forgot. Chat realm dynamically linked.
Well, Chatroom Dynamically Link is a
They came
bit
out
weak
on a
this
Wednesday
week.
night.
Right. Last minute
Yeah.
type deal. Normally it's a
Oh yeah,
lot
we have
fuller.
Little Goomba and Klinka.
Yeah, those guys, they're there. But I am Vinstone at Vinstone on the Twitter nets, plus Vinstone on the G pluses, and my G Brew Hebrew friend of.
Yeah, that thing. I'm Jordan Svung. You can find me at The Burning Fool or plus Jordan Svung on Google Plus, Twitter, irrespectively. And this ill
guy.
horse cancer AIDS patients.
I am Pedro Mateos. You can find me at Unaccounted For on Twitter or plus Pedro Mateos on Google Plus.
So, how about we just give everyone big, healthy thumbs up showing up on a
And horse
Wednesday.
cancer AIDS. I know it can't be the title. I'm still going to say it
yeah.
again and again and again.